Hey, Bible lovers. Today's session in Let's Talk Rebinds with Daniel and John of Logos and ICA is really all about what kind of block to send to Rebinder because that's an incredibly important decision. The text block really matters. Now, if you don't know what a text block is, basically all it is it is this. It is the Bible itself. It is the not cover portion. So anyhow, check it out. I think you'll be interested to see the answers that Daniel and John have. What is the best type of block to send in for a rebind? Let me kind of rearrange this question. What are the types of blocks people should not get rebound? Okay, let's kind of start with that, and then we'll move into what are some features that a person would, because look, there may be people they have no idea, and they send you a block, and you're thinking, man, this is not a good idea, but this is what they sent me, and it's like, are you sure you want to do this? So maybe somebody will stumble upon this video that's looking to get a rebind done, and this may save them a bunch of money, a bunch of headache, a bunch of heartache. So what are some types of blocks you should not send in? Let's start with that.
Personally, and Daniel's going to say the same thing, everything needs to be Smith sewn, just because it is automatically more durable. We can do a little cord insertion work on those glued bindings, but I still don't think that they will naturally last as long, and it does eat up a lot of the gutter. It makes it where you can't open them as flat. They're not as sturdy. So any research you can do if you're looking for a Bible, I would say make sure it's Smith sewn. If you're going to be spending the money on putting us to work and these nice materials, I do not want it to fall apart on you in 2 years or 5 years or even 10 years. Right. I don't want it to fall apart on you ever, but I think that would be the first thing that I would look out for as far as quality of or return on investment.
Definitely. Right. Definitely. Yeah. The same answer here. I caution everyone who's getting ready to send me a glued binding. The glued bindings are definitely more difficult to try and repair and then feel like they're going to last. And that comes with a lot of hardback Bibles. That's just kind of a commonality that I see. Sometimes you do get sewn spines with those Smith sewn. Another one. This is just me. It's not for everybody. I don't round corners. If the corners of a Bible are not rounded, I don't do that yet. Or maybe one day I will. Sometimes that can be a little bit weird with measurements and yap kind of things. But and then if you want something with gold gilded edges, hardbacks don't usually do that as well. So just kind of a commonality with those. But.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. Is that rebinders don't do gilding work. That's a custom thing that you do. You have to send it off. It's very expensive. I was actually quite disappointed when I learned that you can't gold gild because dummy me. You know what I did? I went and bought gold archival ink, thinking I'm going to gild these page edges. I'm sure going And boy, did I get a rude awakening when I realized that it's not the same. And how ignorant can somebody be if you get a block that has good gilding on it, that it's not all scratched up, scuffed up, because they cannot repair that. They can art gild it and add kind of the ink dye on the page edges to give you that nice little pretty when you open it. But there is, and so if you get a hardback that isn't gilded, it's just going to be ink dyed.
And that's it off to be gilded. I didn't want to leave Daniel under the bus there. I also don't round corners. I believe there are some guys who do. I'm not at that level. But also to send it off to be gilded, they will round the corners for you.
They will. I have one here. This one right here was. So this is
nice.
ESV Lego verse by verse, and I got it cut down. As you can see, the margins are gone right there. Wow. But anyways, whoa, sorry, I just dropped it. They gilded it for me.
Looks good.
Rounded the corners there. So. That's an expensive thing because you're talking about the same sort of specialty. It's like one guy I believe in Wisconsin's doing it, and that I know of. Maybe one day a rebinder will get up the guts to start.
A lot of expensive equipment, I would imagine, is what it is.
Right?
Can't be cheap. So
yeah, you're talking a couple $100.
Yeah.
To get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want that to be a disappointment that somebody sends you a block and says, I want gold gilding. It's like, hey, that's a no-go. Okay, so yeah, hardbacks are definitely going to be challenging because you don't have the gold gilding and you're going to have to round the corners. And then the glued binding, although they can be reinforced with some thread work and everything, it's going to eat up that gutter And it's still not going to be as durable as a Smith Sewn binding. Smith Sewn bindings are cheap. And if I could add one thing, if you're going to have like a non-Schuyler, non-Crossway, non-like Royal Youngblood premium text block, then make sure your block has overcast stitching. Overcast stitching in the first and the last signature is just a little extra layer of stitching. If you don't know what that is, I'll put a link in the video description to let you know what that looks like and what that is and what to look for, because that's critically important, because even Smith Sewn isn't the most secure unless it's done by these high quality, like these Chinese blocks. You got to be super careful. That's because they will fall apart. We've had a lot of people complaining, I sent this off for a rebind and it's falling apart. Another thing that I would check for, I've seen this happen a lot of times and you wouldn't think, but before you send it off to a rebinder, make sure you check to make sure every signature is there. Because there have been people that have had little pieces missing, a book missing, a signature missing. And folks, that's not the rebinder's job to check your binder for every page and make sure
not like we take it out.
Right, that everything's there. They stick a cover on there, and and I don't even know how you would go with addressing that. I'm going to repeat this because this is important. Number one, Smith Sewn binding. If it's not a premium block, then assure it has overcast stitching. Number two, hardbacks are generally a no-go for most rebinders. There are some that can do it because they aren't gilded and because they don't have the rounded corners that look best with a premium Bible, because they do the corner work and different things like that. So that's some solid advice, because you're paying a lot of money for this thing. You want to make sure that it lasts your life. So is there anything else, any other recommendations you have that if you send me a block, make sure that it has this?
We probably have some good pointers. If you just want to ask any rebinder, be like, this is what I'm looking for in a block. What do you suggest? So, whether it be a wide margin or translation, or if you're even looking for a specific paper thickness, we know kind of good stuff in that regard. So that's another thing, paper thickness. It goes a long way. I mean, if you'd like to take notes in your Bible, a thicker paper is good. If you don't like ghosting, so seeing like the other, if that's not a big deal for you, then we probably know maybe a little more affordable block that works great.
Right.
So if you're getting a new Bible and want it to be rebound, definitely feel free to ask the rebinder what their thoughts are on a good block. So
Make the most of your investment for sure.
That is super solid advice, because you all will know things that maybe the average person won't know. If you want a Bible to last you 30, 40 years, you have to be able to read it in 30, 40 years. So make sure you buy something, unless it's something you want to pass down once you can't read it anymore, with like a 6 or a 7-point font, that by the time you're 60 years old, you've got all this money in this Bible and you can't even read it anymore. Again, if you want to get something with small font Rebound to last a lifetime, understand there's going to come a time you're going to have to hand that off. But if this is something you're saying, I want this to be my lifetime Bible, I want to be able to use it the rest of my life, then make sure you get at least a good 10-point font or something that you're going to be able to read up well into your older years. There you have it. You heard them both emphasize the importance of a sewn text block. Now, beyond that, it's also important as to how it's sewn. If it's rushed through a mechanism or a mechanical process and for mass production, then you want to make sure it has that overcast stitching. But generally speaking, on a premium text block, you're going to be okay. But there's other factors, whether you want gilding on your Bible and all those different things that are real important as well. Paper quality, line matching, all those things. Make sure that you pay attention to the details. There you have it. Keep calm. Jesus on. This is your Nicholas Worth.